tonight I'm making brunch for dinner. I absolutely love brunch, and I really enjoy going out after church on Sunday with my husband to get brunch. But we don't do that as much anymore now that we've had James, especially now that he's starting to eat table food like us, and he can't have most things at a brunch place. Anything with dairy, eggs, butter. You can see the problem there where brunch is coming into play. So a lot of times I like to make brunch for us for Sunday lunch or sometimes for Sunday dinner. And tonight I'm making a new recipe, lemon ricotta pancakes with blueberries in them. Hey Linda, hey Nancy. I'm going to flip this around for you guys. So just so y'all know, I borrowed one of Contessa's recipes from my grandmother, and so I'm making her recipe for lemon ricotta pancakes with a few different tweaks. So first off, I have 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour right here, and I'm going to add 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. And that's just all mixed together right there. All right, and I'm going to whisk this together for our dry ingredients. So James has already had his dinner, so it won't matter that we're splurging a little bit and eating things that he can't have. Although, to be fair, I am making the Conecuh sausage dairy-free, so he'll be able to munch on that and have that for breakfast this week. Okay. And then in our next bowl, I already measured out 1 cup of ricotta cheese, and instead of using full-fat ricotta cheese, I'm using lower-fat ricotta cheese made with part skim milk, so that just lightens it up a little bit. And I also have 3 eggs in here and 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And to this, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1/4 cup of lemon juice, so the juice of about 2 lemons. And then I have the zest of 1 lemon. The zest of 2 lemons. And when you'll definitely want to zest your lemons before you cut them in half and juice them. So it's really hard to zest, about impossible to zest a juiced lemon. So you'll want to zest it and then juice the lemon. And rolling the lemon on the counter before you zest it helps loosen up the juices, so it's easier to squeeze out the juice. So that's a good little tip. There, it was sticking to the bowl, so I was trying to scrape all of that good lemon zest out. I love the smell of lemon oils. It's really fresh. Okay. And now I'm going to whisk that all together. Oh. Okay, that's a little incorporated. I'm also going to add 1 cup of buttermilk, and I'm using non-fat buttermilk instead of whole milk, again, to lighten it up a little bit. So 1 cup of non-fat buttermilk. Okay, finish whisking that. We're going to pair this with blueberries. The recipe was originally called for adding figs to the recipe, but they're not in season, so I'm going to use blueberries instead. And blueberries and lemons go really well together. So kind of a twist on your traditional blueberry pancake, a little bit more of a fun adult version. Well, I'm sure a lot of kids would like this too. Okay. Okay, that's pretty whisked up, so I'm going to set that to the side. And now I'm going to add in our dry ingredients, the flour mixture. And instead of using a whisk, I'm going to use a spatula to mix this until it's barely mixed together and incorporated. Oh, this is smelling really good from all that lemon. don't usually get pancakes when we go out for brunch. One of my favorite things to get is chicken and waffles. I used to think that sounded really gross, but we had it at a friend's wedding one time. They had these little, bite-sized bite-sized chicken and waffle appetizers, and it actually was pretty good. So ever since then, I've kind of been a convert. So pancakes are kind of our go-to for breakfast or brunch at home, but every now and then we'll make waffles. And if we're feeling really adventurous, we'll fry up some chicken with that. But most of the time, just doing pancakes and eggs, and or pancakes and sausage or bacon. I like to do pancakes with prosciutto. I gave my husband a choice tonight of doing either prosciutto or Conecuh sausage, and he hands down picked Conecuh sausage. He's from South Alabama and grew up eating that stuff, and he loves it. It's one of his favorites. This night we're doing the hot and spicy Conecuh sausage. James actually really likes Conecuh too. Even the regular is a little bit spicy, but he likes the regular and he likes the hot and spicy. So I'm surprised that this kid kind of likes spicy stuff. He likes jambalaya and that kind of thing too. All right, well, that looks pretty mixed together. It's still a little bit lumpy, but that's okay. It's pancake batter. It can still be a little bit lumpy, but it's pretty good and mixed together. All right, so we're going to go with that. Okay, so all mixed up. And then over here, so I went ahead and sliced up our hot and spicy Conecuh sausage into just little penny rounds. So I'm going to cook those on the skillet over the stove, and with the fat from the sausage, you really don't need to add butter or oil or anything to that. They'll just cook in their own juices. Just kind of, cook those over medium, and maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Stir occasionally, get them browned on all sides, and they'll be set. So that's pretty easy. Okay, and I'm doing our pancakes in one pan, and then the sausage in another pan. So everything will be separated and dairy-free for James. So always something to think about here. I went ahead and made some clarified butter earlier. It has a higher smoke point than regular butter, and so it'll be easier to get the pancakes nice and golden brown without burning them, using clarified butter instead of regular butter. So Barefoot Contessa's tip was to put the butter in the microwave and melt it, and then wait for the solids to separate and skim the milk solids off. I've made clarified butter on the stove before, just melting it down, but I tried it in the microwave, and it might work for some, but I would not recommend it. I think it's kind of tricky melting butter in the microwave, kind of like melting chocolate is tricky in the microwave. I had 6 tablespoons of butter, and I set the microwave for just 1 minute. It maybe went for 45 seconds, and there was butter all and then I heard a pop, but by the time I heard a pop, there was butter all over the microwave. So I had to remove James from the kitchen and have him occupied elsewhere while I cleaned up all the mess of the butter so he wouldn't get into it and have an allergic reaction. And then the butter that was still in the bowl, I saved and added a bit more to it, and then redid it on the stove. And so so the clarified butter's there. And so I just melted it down on the stove. And then I think an easy way to skim the milk solids off is to just pour it through a paper towel so that the solids kind of collect and the butter will drip through. Hey Erin, hey Megan. So you could see it better earlier, but there's a lot of white solids on the paper towel there. So that's all the milk solids that I separated from the butter. And then that's the reserved clarified butter. But I mean, it took me about a minute to do it on the stove, and it was really easy. And I just feel like it's easier to watch your butter on the stove, and you're less likely to have a mishap. If you do it in the microwave, I'd say maybe do 15-20 seconds and then check on it. And repeat that until you get the melted butter. So I would maybe melt it for a max of 30 seconds before checking on it. But I would maybe do about 20 seconds, check on it, and go from there. Definitely don't even do a whole minute, because you might end up with exploded butter like I did. Okay, so anyway, so we have our clarified butter with the higher smoke point. So I'm going to turn our skillet onto medium here. And I'm going to pour a little bit of butter in the pan. I usually don't use butter when I make pancakes, actually. I usually just do pancakes with olive oil, because a lot of times I'm making dairy-free pancakes with almond milk for James, and I just cook those with olive oil, and they're really healthy. All of us can eat it, and just go from there. But since I'm making some special pancakes for us, and there's going to be so yummy with the ricotta and the lemon, I'm going to give a little bit of richness from the clarified butter as a special treat for us. And plus, all of y'all know how to make clarified butter now. All right, so I'm just letting that get a little warm. Okay, I'm starting to see some bubbles there. Perfect, that's getting warm. Okay, I'm actually going to use a little cupcake scoop to just pour a few little pancakes on here. Probably just going to do 2 pancakes per bowl. You don't have to perfectly measure out your pancakes. I usually don't. I usually just eyeball it, but since I'm doing it on here, it's a little bit easier to pour out just a little bit of pancake using a small scoop, then hold the whole bowl and hold the foam. All right, so now I've got these pancakes on here, and I'm going to sprinkle some blueberries on top. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, so our butter is bubbling up there. So we want to wait for the pancakes to kind of show bubbles themselves. Like we can see a few right there, but we want to see lots of bubbles on the pancakes before we flip it over. Now I already have a plate right here waiting for our pancakes when they're done. I also have another plate for when I end up cooking the Conecuh sausage, and I've lined it with a couple layers of paper towel so that it can drain. That way some of the fat from the sausage will drain onto those paper towels and they won't be so greasy. Looking good. So Jane Spann said the S word recently, snow in Alabama. We might end up getting some on Tuesday. So of course everyone was going to the grocery store today to stock up before the possible bad weather. I just happened to need to go today because I had a list of things I wanted to get to make the pancakes tonight, and then stop up on regular groceries. But the grocery store was really crowded today. I was surprised that all the milk and bread wasn't gone, because those were actually on our regular list of things to get today, but there was plenty of that. But it was definitely crowded. The lines were super long. So maybe it'll snow, maybe it won't, we'll see. Dane always hopes it won't snow, because whenever it does, he has to close his office, and he gets really grumpy sitting around the house all day when he has to cancel his patients. That's looking good. We can see all these little air bubbles on the pancakes. That's just what we want. Down there too. All right. I'm going to go ahead and flip. Whoop. The pancakes got joined together. Made it a little bit harder to flip. There we go. Ooh, that looks so nice. Oh. Those look nice and gold and brown on the bottom. Just looks so good. Hey, Shanalee. Hope you're having a good weekend. I bet your kids would love these. And it usually doesn't take very long once they're on the other side. Maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Not long at all. Flip these over just to look. Now these are looking pretty good. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. And these won't even need any butter on top when they're done, because there's going to be so much butter already soaked into the batter from cooking this in the clarified butter. Just you might be able to just eat these on their own. They'll probably already be super rich, or we might add just a little bit of maple syrup. I like getting pure maple syrup to go with pancakes. I feel like the sugar content is a little bit less, and it's more favorable for your glycemic index than the just regular pancake syrup. We like to go with pure maple. You know what? Some honey would probably be really good on the pancakes too. The honey would go really well with the lemon and the blueberry. But we have some vanilla infused maple syrup we got from Trader Joe's a while back, and I think we'll probably use this. Ooh, and the blueberries are looking all blistered and cooked. That looks delicious. All juicy, very juicy. Okay, I'm going to scoop these up. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, some of the blueberries aren't wanting to come out. There we go. All right. So those are looking pretty good, nice and cooked through and juicy. And I'm going to add a little bit more of our batter and keep going, and I'll add more clarified butter as needed. So I have quite a lot of pancake batter here. The recipe called for 3 eggs, and that makes it kind of hard to split in half. So I'm just going to make all the pancakes. We'll eat some for dinner tonight, and then the rest I'll either stick in the refrigerator or freeze, so that we'll have breakfast for a while to come, if we want to have a quick breakfast one morning and not have to cook anything. Add a little bit more clarified butter. And again, we'll add our blueberries if you missed it before. And then we'll wait for our pancakes to bubble up and before we flip them. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this to a little bit lower than medium. But I'm just going to rinse and repeat for the rest of this pancake batter. And then when this is done, I'm going to get rid of the pan and the butter and everything, wipe everything up in the sink, and then cook the sausage dairy-free so James can have some too. But I will definitely take some pictures, let y'all know how it turned out. Enjoy the rest of your night, and take care. Talk to you soon.